There is something deeply powerful about the moments before sleep. The world becomes quiet, distractions fade away, and the heart finally has a chance to speak honestly to Allah. During the day, people are consumed by work, stress, responsibilities, and endless thoughts. But at night, when the lights are off and silence fills the room, a believer stands at the door of Allah's mercy with sincerity that is difficult to find at any other time. This is why nighttime du'as carry such emotion and spiritual weight. They are often made with tears, hope, weakness, and complete dependence on Allah. A person lying in bed realizes how limited they truly are. They cannot control tomorrow, they cannot guarantee their future, and they cannot force rizq to come through their own power. In those quiet moments, the soul remembers that Allah alone controls every blessing. Many people underestimate what happens spiritually before sleep. They think sleep is only a physical need. But Islam teaches that sleep is also a reminder of death and dependence upon Allah. Every night, a believer closes their eyes without certainty that they will wake up again. This awareness softens the heart. It removes arrogance and reminds a person to reconnect with their Creator. That is why the Prophet encouraged believers to sleep in a state of purity, remembrance, and dua. The heart that remembers Allah before sleeping enters rest differently from the heart filled with anxiety, anger, or worldly obsession. One sleeps with peace while the other sleeps with heaviness. The hidden power of nighttime du'as is connected to sincerity. During the day, people sometimes make dua quickly while distracted. Their lips move, but their hearts are elsewhere. At night, however, emotions become more honest. A person feels their struggles more clearly. They think about unpaid bills, family problems, emotional pain, lost opportunities, fears about the future, and unanswered prayers. In that state of vulnerability, the dua becomes more real. Allah loves when His servants call upon Him sincerely. He loves when they admit their weakness and trust in His mercy. Some of the most life-changing du'as are whispered quietly in darkness when nobody else can hear them. Night is also a time of mercy and acceptance. There are moments during the night when Allah's mercy descends in a special way. The believer who turns to Allah before sleeping with faith and hope is not ignored. Even if the answer does not come immediately, every dua reaches Allah. Sometimes the result appears quickly, while at other times Allah delays it for wisdom only He knows. But no sincere dua is ever wasted. The believer understands that every word spoken to Allah has value, even when the outcome is unseen. The emotional state before sleep matters greatly. Many people sleep carrying stress, fear, jealousy, regret, and sadness. Their minds race with worries about rizq, success, and problems they cannot solve. Islam teaches believers to release these burdens through remembrance and dua. Instead of ending the day with panic, a Muslim is encouraged to end the day with trust in Allah. This changes the condition of the heart. A person who sleeps after making dua feels lighter because they have handed their worries over to the one who controls everything. They understand that rizq does not come from employers, businesses, clients, or people. Rizq comes from Allah alone. Some people spend years chasing wealth while forgetting the one who provides it. They exhaust themselves mentally and physically, believing their future depends entirely on their own efforts. Islam does not discourage hard work, but it teaches balance. Work alone cannot create barakah. Two people may earn the same amount of money, yet one lives peacefully while the other constantly struggles. One finds unexpected ease while the other remains dissatisfied. This difference is often connected to barakah, and barakah comes from Allah. Barakah is another important part of rizq. Two people may earn the same salary, yet one finds ease while the other constantly struggles financially. Person's income stretches and benefits their family, while another feels endless stress despite earning more. This difference often comes from barakah. Barakah is the unseen blessing Allah places within something. It creates peace, benefit, and satisfaction beyond what numbers can explain. Without barakah, even large amounts of wealth can feel empty and insufficient. Many people chase money believing it will solve all their problems, but they forget that money itself can become a test. Wealth can either bring a person closer to Allah or distract them completely. Some people become arrogant after gaining wealth. Others become consumed by fear of losing it. Islam teaches believers to seek halal rizq with humility and gratitude. The goal is not simply to become rich, but to receive blessed provision that benefits both this life and the hereafter. A healthy body is one of the most overlooked forms of rizq. People often ignore their health until they lose it. Someone may possess millions yet willingly spend everything just to regain strength, mobility, or peace of mind. This is why gratitude is so important. When believers recognize the countless forms of risk already present in their lives, they become less anxious and more appreciative. Gratitude itself attracts more blessings because Allah promises increase for those who are thankful. Relationships are also a major form of risk. Having sincere people who love, support, and care for you is a blessing many people take for granted. Some individuals are surrounded by luxury, yet suffer emotionally because they lack genuine companionship and trust. Others may live simple lives but feel emotionally rich because Allah blessed them with righteous family and loyal friends. Emotional peace and loving relationships are treasures that money alone cannot buy. Time is another powerful form of risk. Every day granted by Allah is a gift filled with opportunities to change, improve, worship, and grow. Some people waste their time carelessly while others use it wisely to build meaningful lives. The believer understands that time itself is provision from Allah and should not be wasted in constant negativity, jealousy, or heedlessness. The ability to worship Allah is also rizq. Not everyone feels drawn toward prayer, Quran, or remembrance. When Allah opens a person's heart toward worship, it is a sign of mercy and blessing. A heart connected to Allah possesses something more valuable than worldly success. Even during hardship, such a heart finds hope and strength because it knows where true peace comes from. Understanding risk correctly changes the way a believer views life. Instead of obsessing over what they lack, they begin noticing what Allah has already provided. They stop measuring success only through money and status. They realize that real success is living with faith, peace, gratitude, and closeness to Allah. This understanding protects the heart from envy and constant dissatisfaction. It teaches believers to work hard while remembering that every blessing ultimately comes from Allah alone. There is a reason certain du'as touch the heart more deeply than others. Some supplications are not just words. They become a source of transformation for the believer who repeats them with sincerity and trust in Allah. The idea of one secret dua changing everything is not about discovering magical words that instantly create wealth or remove every hardship overnight. Rather, it is about finding a supplication that reconnects the heart to Allah so completely that life itself begins to change from within. When the relationship between a servant and Allah becomes stronger, blessings begin to appear in ways the person never expected. Sometimes the most powerful supplications are whispered softly in moments nobody else sees. A believer may cry quietly before sleeping, asking Allah for relief, guidance, healing, or provision. Those hidden moments of sincerity are incredibly valuable in the sight of Allah. Many miracles begin with tears that nobody else witnesses. People often underestimate how much their inner state affects their life. Negativity, hopelessness, constant complaining, and lack of gratitude create spiritual heaviness. But dua revives the heart. It reminds the believer that Allah is always near, always listening, and always capable of changing any situation. Even if the external circumstances remain difficult for a while, the person themselves begins to change. They become more patient, grateful, humble, and trusting. These qualities attract Barakah into their life. The secret dua is not only about receiving what one wants, it is also about becoming closer to Allah. Sometimes the greatest gift hidden within a dua is the relationship it builds between the servant and the Creator. A believer who consistently turns to Allah during hardship often develops stronger faith than someone who never faced struggle at all. Difficulties can either push a person away from Allah or bring them closer to Him. The one who chooses dua discovers strength they never knew they possessed. Many people spend years chasing worldly solutions while neglecting spiritual connection. They focus entirely on external effort, but ignore the power of sincere supplication. Islam teaches balance. A believer works hard, plans wisely, and fulfills responsibilities while also understanding that success ultimately comes from Allah. Dua invites divine help into human effort. It reminds the believer that no situation is beyond Allah's control. There are countless stories of people whose lives changed after sincerely reconnecting with Allah through dua. Some found unexpected opportunities after years of struggle. Others experienced emotional healing, family reconciliation, or peace after long periods of pain. These changes often began quietly through sincere nightly supplications. What looked impossible gradually became manageable because Allah opened doors in unexpected ways. The best time to ask Allah for rizq carries deep spiritual significance. Although Allah hears every dua at all times, certain moments hold special blessings and mercy. Nighttime, especially the moments before sleep and during the last portion of the night, is among the most powerful times for making dua. These are moments when distractions disappear, the heart softens and sincerity becomes easier. The believer who turns to Allah during these quiet hours experiences a unique closeness that is difficult to describe. During the day, people are surrounded by noise, responsibilities, and endless activity. Their minds are divided between work, family, stress, and worldly concerns. At night, however, silence creates space for reflection. A person lying awake before sleeping often thinks deeply about their life, fears, mistakes, hopes, and future. This emotional openness makes nighttime an ideal moment to call upon Allah sincerely. The last third of the night is especially precious in Islam. It is a time associated with mercy, forgiveness, and accepted du'as. While most people sleep, some believers rise quietly to pray, seek forgiveness, and ask Allah for their needs. These moments carry extraordinary spiritual beauty because they are filled with sincerity rather than public attention. Nobody wakes up in the middle of the night to impress people. Such worship is usually done purely for Allah alone. Asking Allah for rizq at night reflects trust and dependence upon Him. A believer sleeps knowing they cannot control tomorrow. They cannot guarantee opportunities, income, or success. By making dua before sleep, they hand their worries over to Allah. This creates emotional relief because the person realizes they are no longer carrying their burdens alone. Trusting Allah before sleeping allows the heart to rest peacefully. Nighttime du'as also protect believers from despair. Many people become mentally exhausted from worrying constantly about finances and the future. Anxiety grows when a person feels solely responsible for every outcome. Islam teaches believers to combine effort with tawakkul, meaning reliance upon Allah. The quiet moments before sleep are ideal for strengthening that trust. A believer reminds themselves that Allah is the provider and that no door remains closed if He wills to open it. Another reason nighttime is powerful for dua is because the heart becomes more honest. During the day, people may hide their emotions or stay distracted, but at night their true feelings often surface. Tears flow more easily. Regrets become clearer, hopes become more sincere. This emotional honesty strengthens dua because Allah loves when His servants call upon Him with humility and genuine need. The believer who consistently remembers Allah before sleeping slowly transforms spiritually. Instead of ending the day with social media stress or negative thoughts, they end it with remembrance and trust in Allah. Over time, this habit fills the heart with peace and hope. Even difficult situations become easier to handle because the person feels spiritually connected and supported. Sleeping after making dua also affects the emotional state upon waking. A person who sleeps with remembrance of Allah often wakes with greater calmness and hope. They begin the next day trusting that Allah can create opportunities and blessings beyond human imagination. This mindset strengthens patience and reduces panic during hardships. Many believers have experienced unexpected openings in their rizq after sincerely turning to Allah during the night. Sometimes solutions appear suddenly. Sometimes opportunities arise from places they never expected. Sometimes the biggest change occurs within the heart itself, as anxiety is replaced by peace and trust. These blessings remind believers that Allah responds in ways far greater than human understanding. The best time to ask Allah for rizq is ultimately whenever the heart is sincere, but nighttime carries a special spiritual atmosphere that makes dua deeply powerful. In the silence of the night, away from distractions and worldly pressure, the believer speaks directly to the one who controls every blessing, every opportunity, and every form of provision. Why before sleeping matters spiritually is something many people overlook in modern life. For most individuals, the final moments before sleep are spent scrolling through phones, worrying about problems, watching entertainment, or thinking endlessly about worldly matters. Very few pause to realize that the moments before sleep are spiritually significant. Islam teaches that sleep is not merely physical rest. It is also a reminder of human weakness, dependence upon Allah, and the temporary nature of life itself. Every night, a person closes their eyes without certainty that they will wake up again. In this way, sleep resembles a small form of death, reminding believers that their souls remain under the control of Allah alone. The final thoughts carried into sleep affect the condition of the heart deeply. A person who sleeps after anger, negativity, jealousy, or sinful distractions often wakes feeling spiritually heavy. On the other hand, someone who remembers Allah before sleeping experiences a different kind of peace. Their heart feels lighter because they ended their day connected to their Creator rather than consumed by worldly anxiety. Islam encourages believers to sleep in a state of purity, remembrance, and trust because the soul benefits greatly from these habits. One of the beautiful wisdoms behind remembering Allah before sleep is that it allows a believer to end the day with repentance and gratitude. Every human being makes mistakes throughout the day. People speak carelessly, waste time, become impatient, or fall into sins knowingly and unknowingly. Before sleeping, a believer has the opportunity to turn back to Allah sincerely. Seeking forgiveness at night cleanses the heart and renews hope. Instead of carrying spiritual darkness into sleep, the believer enters rest after reconnecting with Allah through repentance and dua. The quietness of the night also creates a powerful environment for reflection. During the day, distractions keep people constantly occupied. There is little time to think deeply about life, purpose, and the condition of the soul. But before sleeping, silence often forces the heart to confront itself honestly. People think about their struggles, fears, hopes, failures, and dreams. These moments of reflection can become spiritually transformative when combined with remembrance of Allah. The Prophet taught many beautiful practices before sleeping, such as reciting Quran, making dhikr, sleeping with wudu, and reading protective du'as. These acts are not merely rituals, they protect the heart spiritually and emotionally. A believer who sleeps after remembering Allah entrusts themselves completely to Him. This creates inner peace because the person recognizes their own limitations while relying on Allah's mercy and protection. Another spiritual benefit of remembering Allah before sleep is protection from anxiety and overthinking. Many people lie awake, consumed by fear about finances, relationships, health, and the future. Their minds race endlessly with scenarios they cannot control. Islam teaches believers to place their trust in Allah before resting. Making dua before sleep allows a person to release emotional burdens and accept that Allah controls what tomorrow will bring. This does not mean ignoring responsibilities, but it means refusing to let worry destroy inner peace. The state in which a person sleeps can also influence the state in which they wake up. Someone who sleeps after watching harmful content or engaging in negativity may wake up spiritually drained and emotionally restless. In contrast, a believer who sleeps after Quran, dhikr, and dua often wakes with greater calmness and clarity. The soul carries the effect of what it absorbed before sleep. Before sleeping is also one of the rare moments when many people feel emotionally vulnerable. In those quiet hours, pride weakens and sincerity increases. A person may finally admit fears they hide during the day. They may cry to Allah about problems they cannot share with anyone else. This vulnerability creates powerful du'as because Allah loves hearts that turn to Him sincerely and humbly. Some of the most meaningful conversations between a servant and Allah happen in darkness when nobody else is watching. Spiritually, sleeping after remembering Allah builds consistency and faith. A believer who ends each day with dhikr and dua creates a routine of constant connection with Allah. Over time, this habit softens the heart and strengthens trust. Even during hardships, the person feels spiritually supported because they continuously return to Allah every night. This regular connection prevents the heart from becoming completely consumed by worldly stress. The moments before sleep are also important because they may be a person's final moments in this life. No human being is guaranteed another day. Ending the night with repentance, remembrance, and trust in Allah prepares the soul in the best possible way. A believer understands that life is temporary and uncertain, so they strive to end each day spiritually connected to their Creator. Many people search desperately for peace while ignoring the spiritual emptiness within their hearts.